Hi. Please accept Malcolm's apologies that he cannot be here to make this presentation today. Unfortunately, he's been called away at short notice. My name is Mark Ashby. I'm the Project Development Director for Covanta Energy, and I am happy to give Malcolm's presentation. That's what it says here. I have only a few minutes to talk about a complex issue, and I'm glad that I'm doing so after the comprehensive spending review. At least now we can know the broad outline of the fiscal environment in which new renewable energy projects will be developed in the next few years. Let me start by saying a few words about my company to put my wider remarks in context. We are the world's leading energy from waste developer, with 45 plants worldwide, treating some 18 million tonnes of residual waste each year. That's equivalent to roughly 2/3 of total UK municipal waste arisings. In the UK, we are currently bidding in 12 local authority residual waste procurements and are taking forward the development of 6 large-scale energy from waste, or EFW, facilities. Our model broadly is to develop projects on a regional scale, capable of handling the residual waste management requirements of several local authorities and providing merchant capacity to deal with commercial and industrial waste as well. It's important to take both of these waste streams together. The main focus in recent years has been on the municipal sector, because that's where the statutory drivers are. But the municipal stream is only about 1/3 of the total. The EU has set a target to recycle 50% of municipal waste by 2020. If we assume that the target is met and a similar level of recycling is achieved for commercial and industrial wastes, there's still around 50 million tonnes of waste that potentially can be used for energy recovery. The government estimates that if this potential is turned into reality, energy from waste could contribute around 6% of total electricity demand by 2020. That is almost as much as might come from the fleet of new nuclear power stations announced by the Energy Secretary last week. The question, of course, is how do we get from the position today, when most of that residual waste still goes to landfill, to one where most of it's put to beneficial use, providing renewable and low-carbon heat and power to communities and businesses? It can only be done through partnership with the public and private sectors working together to change behaviour. There are those who say that this task has become more difficult since the spending review. They point to the fact that 7 waste PFI projects have been terminated, removing nearly £1 billion of public funding from the sector. But that is to miss the critical point that in most cases, the procurement of a dedicated facility to meet the residual waste management requirements of a single local authority does not represent good value for money. Let me put that into numbers. A local authority that opts to take up 1/3 of the capacity of an energy from waste facility processing 600,000 tonnes of waste a year could save as much as £10 million a year, compared with procuring a dedicated 200,000 tonne a year facility to deal solely with its residual waste. This £10 million is the equivalent of about 320 teachers or police officers. So my fundamental message today is that our industry and councils across the country need to be talking in a more coherent way about how we can work together, not only to deal with the problem of residual waste management, but also the delivery of the economic and energy benefits that come from an efficient approach. How do we get there? In my view, there are 3 critical areas in which we need to transform the existing public-private relationship. These are procurement, planning, and vision. The point here is a simple one, and I think has been underlined by the cancellation of many of the more complex waste PFIs in the comprehensive spending review. Effective partnership between local authorities letting residual waste management contracts and the private sector companies that can provide solutions should be based upon the public sector trusting its partners. At the heart of that is clarity. All that is really needed is for procuring authorities to be clear about the level of landfill diversion that they need to achieve over the life of a contract. They should then trust the private sector to offer effective and efficient solutions. That means leaving it to companies like mine to take technology choices to deliver those objectives based on commercial considerations. It also means encouraging companies to think creatively about how best to provide the solution. In that respect, as I've hinted already, the best solution in both environmental and economic terms often will not be for a council to undertake a standalone procurement of a dedicated facility scaled to its specific municipal waste requirements. I hope that as we go forward in this much tighter financial climate, more councils will look to joint procurement and be more open to the potential to contract into part of the capacity of larger joint municipal merchant facilities. A slightly ironic slide. It's a sight that we see all too rarely, and when we do, usually only after prolonged battles. The biggest single barrier to developing energy from waste projects and delivering the massive renewable energy and climate change benefits that they can bring is delay within the planning system. This is rather odd. National planning policy is clear and has been for many years. Energy from waste is part of the solution. Let me quote a short passage from the latest iteration of government planning policy, issued in draft by the Department of Energy and Climate Change just last week. The recovery of energy from the combustion of waste, where in accordance with the waste hierarchy, will play an increasingly important role in meeting the UK's energy needs. Where the waste burned is deemed renewable, this can also contribute to meeting the UK's renewable energy targets. Further, the recovery of energy from the combustion of waste forms an important element of waste management strategies in both England and Wales. It isn't only a case of there being too often a disconnection between expressed national policy and the planning approaches of local authorities. All too often there is a disconnection within local authorities, with one side selecting an energy from waste solution for their residential waste, only for the planning committee to refuse consent for that facility. There is a long, and I have to say disgraceful history of this, stretching, for example, from the very first PFI in Herefordshire and Worcestershire back in 2000 to Oxfordshire in the last few weeks. If the public sector wants to work with the private sector to harness the renewable and low-carbon energy potential of residual wastes, a more consistent and coherent approach must be taken in planning. My third point is where we move into the really positive terrain. If we can get procurement and planning working better, we really have the opportunity to put energy from waste at the heart of public-private partnership to develop the low-carbon economy at the local level, bringing large-scale investment and job creation opportunities. A total investment in new energy from waste project plants in the UK planned by my company is well in excess of £2 billion. That will generate several thousand medium-term jobs in construction, as well as hundreds of good-quality permanent jobs. On top of that, each plant will spend millions of pounds every year on goods and services in the local economy. We want to work with local authorities in particular to maximise these economic benefits. But our vision goes much further. Let me briefly explain by outlining a couple of our projects. At Ince in Cheshire, we are in a joint venture with Peel for the development of a 200-acre resource park. At the heart of this project will be our 95-megawatt energy from waste facility that will provide both electricity and heat to the many recycling, research and innovation businesses that will occupy the buildings on the park. The vision is that Ince will become a key hub for the development of the green economy, upon which so much of future job creation will depend. In Wales, our Briggy Cwm project at Merthyr Tydfil centres around an energy from waste facility with capacity to treat around 750,000 tonnes of waste every year. The facility is conceived to serve the municipal waste market across South Wales, as well as addressing the C&I market. It will be rail-served and fed through a network of transfer stations that will enable us to offer a fully integrated solution. However, it is the scale of the project that unlocks its most exciting feature. Because of the amount of energy and heat that we are able to provide with long-term supply and price guarantees, co-location with this facility is highly attractive to energy-intensive industry. Indeed, I'm delighted to be able to say that we have in the last few days signed a deal with a major international manufacturer that will bring some 1,000 to 2,000 jobs to an area where they are very much needed. I hope that in future there will be more councils that will share this vision and want to work with private sector operators like ours to transform the residual waste management problem into an opportunity to build low-carbon green economy. Thank you.